I'm not late. What are you talking about? You're late. I've never been late to a stream in my life. Not once, not ever. You're late. Welcome to Streamer News. Woo! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a few weeks since we have done one of these live streams, and we are here back with Streamer News. This is actually the third event that we have done this week, because we had an AFK chat on Tuesday. We have Streamer News today. Tomorrow, Saturday, July 31st at 5 p.m. Eastern. We're doing it a little bit early because of personal reasons that make it difficult to do the later one, and to help get some of you other time zone people in here. We're doing 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Discord community game night. We're playing Halo 3 again on Master Chief Collection PC. We got a lot of requests for that, so we'll be doing some cool customs and having a lot of fun with that. Obviously, the Halo Infinite technical preview is currently going on, but you're only playing against bots anyway, and it would be very difficult to try to coordinate in that, and there's only so much you can do within that current preview run. So, we're doing game night. So, discord.gg/EposVox. Make sure you join us. Make sure you hop in for a play. And yeah, we're going to get into some streamer news for today. Make sure you do have Halo 3 multiplayer installed. All the custom stuff will be managed by us, and that will run approximately from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time. However, keep in mind that you guys and gals can keep playing later. So I will have to bounce around 7 to go feed my kid dinner and put him to bed. However, I can possibly return if y'all are still going after, and you all can keep playing however much you like, just without my involvement. So, whew. Do let me know how the audio balance is going. I'm making some major changes to my entire streaming setup here, which will affect pretty much everything, and I'm super stoked to, check everything out. But make sure you join us. Discord.gg/EposVox. All right, we got some interesting topics today. We don't have a huge list as we often do, but we do have some interesting topics for today to get in here and test out. And I've got all sorts of new things set up for my kind of stream going here. All in preparation, by the way. You should also go follow me on twitch.tv. I can't believe I'm saying that. But twitch.tv/EposVox. I am prepping a new show that we're going to be streaming kind of in place of AFK chat. Moving forward on Twitch, AFK chat will still exist. It'll just become less common. We're maybe going to do some alternating weeks or what have you. But we are going to be doing a Twitch show, so make sure you go follow over there as well. If you're having trouble getting the frame rate running smoothly in this stream, consider dropping it down to 1080p or 1440p or something instead of 4K. There is a little bit of choppiness that happens every once in a while due to the way OBS handles capture cards, and it just randomly duplicates frames for no reason, and there's quite literally nothing I can do about that. I've been fighting it for a couple years now, but yeah. All right, let's get into some topics, shall we? Whoop. First and foremost, we have two pieces of news from StreamLabs, and I can't believe I'm covering this in a positive light, but in a sense, I actually appreciate the added value involved here. So StreamLabs has introduced two new features for StreamLabs users / StreamLabs OBS users. The first one is called Highlighter, and it is a tool that combines the replay buffer from OBS Studio with a minimal video editor that allows you to trim and combine your clips into a quick little montage. And from what I can tell of the actual editor, it is effectively the program AVI Demux. If you've heard of that, I've covered it before as an easy way to edit and trim your clips without having to re-encode. And this one seems to be very similar in that you have the basic trimming, but this one also does kind of allow you to add transitions and background music. And then it does re-encode it. But I think some of what they're working with is based on similar concepts like AVI Demux. But it is a super basic video editor. You can trim your clips, you can change the order, you can add transitions and music, and then you export it out. But given that, obviously, OBS is not a video editor itself and will likely never will be, and those of you who use StreamLabs OBS may appreciate that you can quickly, record highlights and then edit them all in one place. I still recommend that you learn actual video editing software and maybe don't rely on this too heavily, but added value regardless, and I think it is pretty neat that they are implementing some of these features. Like, I have a lot of complaints got a lot of complaints about StreamLabs, their over-monetization of their StreamLabs OBS fork, the kind of crummy marketing they do of StreamLabs OBS in general, compared to OBS, and what the implications for StreamLabs OBS, or for normal OBS, might be as a result. However, they do add some value in certain areas that really can't be beat and can't really be done in the same way for vanilla OBS. And so it's really interesting to see that balance. And having used the Stream Elements plugin for OBS Studio called OBS Live, which is completely unnecessary to get any of the functionality of Stream Elements in the first place, that plugin is effectively adware. Like, it completely takes over your OBS. It does a lot of bad stuff and really, like, floods the logs even. And so, comparatively, StreamLabs OBS isn't quite that bad anymore. At least, you know, compared to my experiences with that. However, they also introduced a new video editing tool called CrossClip, which allows you to easily edit up your Twitch clips into vertical format videos for TikTok, which is the standard format where it gets a clip of your gameplay and then slices up your, webcam view and stacks it on top, and you can do a little bit of basic framing here to upload your content to TikTok. Now, again, you're going to get better results if you're kind of planning this out more ahead of time, or you're using the Source Record plugin I covered before, or many other things that you can do to manually get control. But if you're not someone who has the capacity to, do a whole lot of video editing, or you just want something super quick, keep in mind the less effort you put in, the less positive results you will get out of your viewership or what have you on any individual platform. It's still really cool that they are implementing this, and it is an extra tool that, again, just adds value for the users who just want to quickly edit their clips together. And I see a lot of content over on TikTok when I am watching from people that I follow and enjoy, whose videos I think are just auto-edited with tools like this. And as long as the content itself is interesting or amusing or informative, it doesn't really matter. So, pretty cool stuff there, regardless. This is one of those things, I think with CrossClip specifically, like, anyone can use it because it's its own website. So you literally, since it's using Twitch clips instead of your saved clips, which that's kind of unfortunate that they didn't combine that with Highlighter in some capacity so that you can use your recorded clips as well. That seems like a massive oversight / missed opportunity, and is kind of representative of how StreamLabs makes things, because they usually just acquire or adapt existing open source tools and then modify them for their purpose. And so I think if they were making all of this from scratch, sorry, wrong tabs, they would have been able to combine these two concepts and already have it combined from the get-go. But regardless, if you're making Twitch clips, you can just paste your Twitch URL in here. You can upload the local file, but it's not integrated into Slobs yet. And then you can create your clip. So I think it's pretty freaking neat and gives you a lot of cool capabilities. And of course, you can use it for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. So pretty neat regardless. But if you're not streaming on Twitch, guess what? YouTube has gotten some features. Now, I have posted my TikToks and my Twitter videos and all of that about this already, but YouTube is introducing 3 streaming-specific features, and then they also introduced a video-specific feature as well. So for streaming, they have rolled out clips to all gaming creators, and they say gaming creators, but I've seen it on just about every video and stream, even if it's not marked in the gaming category. I don't think that YouTube really has, like, a way of filtering that anymore, because categories basically don't exist anymore. But pretty much any YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers or more, any video or stream can now be clipped. So theoretically, you should be able to clip this one right now. I haven't actually pulled it up to check. I guess I should have done that. If I pull up my stream, yeah, specific features, and then, oh god, yeah, you can clip this stream right now. Now, the cool thing about clips with YouTube stuff is, instead of making it its own separate video, which could be good or bad, but instead of making it its own separate video, it actually creates basically like a highlighted segment within the VOD. And that means that you can immediately keep watching the entire video and see the context of it and continue, watching the content. Whereas Twitch clips, you may never find the rest of what you were watching or what was clipped or whatever, which is pretty freaking frustrating sometimes. So this is really neat. The only issue being, it makes it more difficult to share out the social media. Like with Twitch clips, they are literally splicing out their own video file, which you can then download and upload wherever you want. You're supposed to do it after 24 hours if you're an affiliate or partner, keep in mind. But you know, being its own file makes it a little bit easier to manage if you're doing highlights or posting somewhere else. And this is definitely the YouTube way of doing it. But I think for those of people like myself who specifically make videos versus, you know, being streaming focused, this is actually a really useful feature because anyone looking at a clip can then go find my video. So if someone, for example, you could take, and I don't think anyone's really considered the possibilities with this, but you could take my educational videos, my tutorials, my how-to, my list videos, splice out a 60-second clip using the clip feature that shows someone how to do something and share that with them. They immediately get that value and get to jump into my content for that. But then if they're like, oh, I want to learn more, they can keep watching my video. That is huge. That is huge. Like, that is a big deal for channels like myself that I don't think anyone is using yet, especially since they're marketing it as a gaming feature, which I'm really frustrated with YouTube because they kind of treat streaming as only a gaming thing. Like, even with this, like, clips are useful outside of just gaming. Their live streaming features are useful for something other than gaming. But pretty much all the features that they make that are inspired by Twitch, they assume are only going to be used in gaming, and they always refer to gaming creators, and that's not really how it works. And they have tons of streams on YouTube, like this one, that aren't gaming. And I think they have a little bit of a mixed up communication, especially since YouTube gaming itself is no longer a thing. And so they're struggling to, like, balance, I guess, I don't know if it's the priorities of the people involved, like making it, or trying to make sure that the gaming creators don't feel like they're left out. I don't know what exactly it is, but it does get kind of frustrating. But they even divide it out here. Like it says, clips available to all gaming creators, 1,000 subscribers or more. But then sub-only chat. They also introduced subscribers-only chat. It says all streamers. Now, I think the real differentiation here is not the category, gaming versus all. I think it's 1,000 subs are required for clips, whereas sub-only chat is not. So you can specifically restrict your live-only chat to subscribers, both from streams and even premieres, which I think would be kind of silly, but you can do it. If you have trouble controlling your chat, you can choose a duration that they have to be subbed before they can send line messages. I don't think, however, keep in mind, when YouTube refers to subscribers, now, I hate making this differentiation because YouTube is the one who normalized this language. But a subscriber on YouTube is just what happens when you click that subscribe button below the video, which you should do right now if you haven't already. On Twitch, a subscriber is a paying subscriber. So this is not a paid subscriber only chat. This is just people who follower only chat in the Twitch equivalent. And so they do not have channel members only chat just yet, I don't believe. So that Twitch version of sub only chat doesn't yet exist, but this can still help control speedy chats or, you know, trolling or whatever by restricting how long they have to have been subscribed to you. You can kind of moderate a little bit easier with that. And yeah, someone in chat mentions that they're mostly doing it to attract Twitch streamers. I get it, but I think they need better language for it or to go back to kind of going all in on YouTube gaming as a thing. And then, of course, they have live polls in chat, which I believe I can make right now. Yeah, live poll. Are you... Oh, yes. Are you excited for Halo Infinite? Question mark. Ask your community. Bam. Now you have a poll in chat. It's that easy. Pretty cool. I'm super glad that they implemented it. And honestly, I realize you can do it with bots or reacts or whatever, but I wish Discord would actually implement a form of native polls. But they have not done so just yet. But yes, these are some great features specifically for live streaming, and then specifically for video creators. They now have a feature called Super Thanks, which is basically a one-time contribution on a specific video. And it's basically like super chats, but for a video. You get like an applause that appears over the screen. You get a special badge next to your name. It's basically a tip for a specific video that shows up and is pretty cool, and it's something that they've experimented with before. They used to call it applause and had it rolled out, I feel like, for almost a year to really, really big channels. But they were still like, I don't know, you know, I don't know if they had kinks to work out or monetization logistics to work out, but it took them a really long time to work out. And then they rolled it out now as Super Thanks, which they have then rolled up into their Supers platform. So you get super chat, super stickers, and super thanks. And at this point, I think they need to combine channel members into that and call them super subscribers, because it's effectively the same kind of monetization feature, so bundling it all together under the super branding makes a lot of sense to me. Unfortunately, I don't have it yet. I'm going to double check again to see if it has been enabled for my channel, but it's rolled out to a lot of channels. Myself is weirdly not included. Usually these features, yeah, I still don't have access to it. Weird, a lot of these features I usually get access to, and I don't yet. So that's really frustrating, because I have been a huge advocate for years now for YouTube to lock down better monetization options for VOD creators, because it seems like the culture of contributing or supporting financially video creators has always leaned completely towards streaming. You could just sit in your pajamas all day playing a video game and barely talking to chat, and people will throw thousands of dollars at you and gift you subs and all of that. But if you spend months making super helpful educational videos and ask people to join your Patreon, or run a sponsored spot, you're a shill, or you're begging for money, or you should just do it for free. And it's never made sense to me. And I think it's, I don't know, I don't want to say it's YouTube's responsibility, but it's their burden in order, like, they're the ones in power to make that change in the culture shift by rolling out features for it. And until they do, the culture can't really change. So they are currently, making that happen. And I am stoked to see that go. Worth noting with the polls here, there is a little bit of a cooldown after you make one. It has to complete and show you the votes before you can make a new one. I'm just going to make another one just for fun, because polls are cool. If you join our Discord. If you're not, you should. Discord.gg/EposVox. All right, moving on to our next topic here. Actually, I just featured a tweet from Fwiz showing the same thing, so we don't need to talk about that. NDI. If you don't know what NDI is a suite of tools that allow you to treat your network as a video capture device, basically. You can stream out video over your network instead of needing a capture card. So be it from OBS or from their tools, you can stream out your game capture, webcam captures. You can get native output from Adobe apps and other applications. You've got audio mixing. All of that can be streamed over your network from computer to computer without needing specific... did I put a typo? Out Discord? Have you joined Out Discord? Lol. You can't edit the copy in your polls, by the way. Good typos. Doing it on the fly. But yeah, so NDI is amazing and allows you to do a lot of this kind of stuff. I've covered it a lot on the channel. I even interviewed the creator of it and the head of the company behind it. But they have also rolled out a big NDI 5 update this past month, which introduces Remote and Bridge, which allows you to start doing NDI streaming over the internet, because that has not been possible before. Previously, it was all just over your local network, and most of it, before they introduced the more compressed NDI HX version, it was effectively lossless in a sense. Don't take it too seriously, but it was effectively a lossless encode in a way, and used a ton of bandwidth. Like, we're talking like almost a gigabit per second for 1080p, and it gets wild above that. So doing it over the internet wasn't really possible anyway, and it wasn't something... Oh wow, I spelled Discord wrong too. GG! I'm using a wireless keyboard that isn't super reliable, so it's possible it just didn't press that S key. Anyway, so they hadn't really developed it with that in mind, but they have officially rolled out NDI Bridge and Remote, allowing you to both manage and connect to NDI streams over the internet. So you can get it between buildings, between sources. So for example, I can have someone on a guest spot on the show, have them stream NDI to me, get lower latency and higher quality as a result, to then add into my stream and make a more natural feed. They've also rolled out audio tools that allow you to bring in and out audio out of any DAW, digital audio workstation that supports VST plugins. So effectively, you have NDI as a VST plugin. So if you are mixing or capturing in real time in a DAW like Adobe Audition, Reaper, Ableton, whatever else, you can then automatically have that feeding out to an NDI stream, or capture it over NDI by bringing in a mix from a broadcast or something like that. Some pretty wild possibilities here that I can't even begin to scratch the surface of, but some really cool stuff. And I'm stoked to see this update come, and I'm stoked to play around with the tools. And I think whatever next interview or guest spot I try, assuming they have decent, internet I'm going to try to have them use the new NDI tools for it just as an experiment to see what it's like, and then maybe I'll make a video from there. Because I do have a new series coming that I'm working on that'll probably be part of my Twitch show. I'm not 100% certain yet. That will involve interviewing streamers and creators. So keep that in mind. By the way, if you are interested, as part of my Twitch show, if I can type, yeah, I think it's just me. I can't type today for some reason. As part of my Twitch show, Stream Critique is coming back. I don't think I've said that on a YouTube stream. I've said it on my Twitch streams. I don't think I've said it on a YouTube stream. Stream Critique, the show, what I consider to be the original stream, like judging your streams, evaluating your streams, critiquing your streams kinds of show. I started it a few years ago and then had to take a break once I had my kid last year. It is coming back, and it's coming back in a form that will be presented in my new Twitch show. But if you want to apply for your stream to be featured, head on over to streamguides.gg/streamcritique and sign up today. This is what the application looks like, by the way. Not sure why they didn't provide a return feed for the NDI remote. Not sure. VST function's basically a game changer. Yeah, like it's going to be super exciting. I'm excited to dig in. It's been out a little while. I just haven't had time to mess with it yet. So super stoked for it. They do some awesome stuff there. They still have some other changes that I was teased that I obviously can't talk about that they haven't come out with. So I'm excited to see when that happens because it has yet to come to fruition. Moving on, we get Dead Space again. I am so stoked. Dead Space Remake is official, and it's coming to next-gen consoles and PC. It's not just a remaster, at least per the wording so far. It is a full remake, which will involve quality of life changes and potentially a cut level from the original game that was cut due to just technical capabilities will be being added in as well. I am incredibly stoked for this. It is... It's been a long time coming. Obviously, a lot of weird stuff went down with the original studio that was making it, and not everyone was a fan of the previous, the sequels, but Dead Space was an incredible game and something that I think the gaming industry is kind of, games release scene is kind of lacking that kind of game, and so I am super stoked to see what they can do with it with next-gen consoles, between audio and the graphics tech going on right now. Woo! I am super stoked. Got a question in chat asking where I got my pop filter or my windscreen rather. This is a windscreen, not a pop filter, for my SM7B, the colored one. It is a shop called Reporter Store. They're based out of the UK. They have customizable or colored windshields for just about any microphone. And they have a kit here for the SM7B as well as the MV7. I don't know if you just saw that. But they have specifically an SM7B model over here. Keep in mind, though, these are different fabric, and it's a little bit more dense than the official one. So I'm actually going to make a video about covering it for this versus the original because I think it affects the sound a little bit different, so you might want to consider. But 23 pounds or euros, so it was like 30 bucks total shipped to me, got to me within a week, so not too bad. I also got a blue windscreen for my MKH 416 as well, so pretty stoked for that. There was a leak of pretty much the entire database of Clubhouse users that contains their phone numbers, which isn't just the phone numbers of the users, but the phone numbers of the contacts of the users, because everyone was uploading their contacts to invite people to the app, and so 3.8 billion phone numbers is like half of the world's population. All of their phone numbers, contact lists, and names associated with it have been leaked due to a data breach for Clubhouse. Between the fact that basically every website on the planet is implementing Clubhouse as a feature instead of competing with it, and now this happening, I think Clubhouse is feeling like a complete idiot for not taking the big multi-million-dollar buyout that I think Twitter offered them? I don't remember who exactly offered. Someone offered to buy Clubhouse, and they turned it down, thinking that they were going to survive. And I really, at this point, don't think they will. So this is really unfortunate, but worth keeping in mind if you know anyone who's used Clubhouse, or if you've used Clubhouse, or even if you don't, your information may not be safe anymore. So keep that in mind. Now, obviously, there's only so much that can go with it, but you may see a spike in robocalling, and that can involve more attempts to log into various accounts. I know personally, I've seen a very large influx of people trying to log into my like old Instagrams and the Elder Scrolls Online someone got into recently and things like that. Things are wild at the moment. I will say that. And yeah, once again, I completed the poll, and it only adds up to 99%. That's hilarious. So, like, while I'm not surprised, this is an incredibly massive leak that is kind of scary on its own. I think at some point I need to change my phone number, but I've had the same, like, private phone number for a very long time. And I like that, like, comfort, but I think at some point I need to start swapping phone numbers and get away from some of my older data. And I recommend some people do the same when they get a chance. I know there's obviously inconvenient factors that come with it, but I mean, it's the same thing like password management. You eventually have to start changing stuff, even if it means it's harder to remember and you have to tell it to other people. Obviously, don't tell your password to other people, but you get what I'm saying. All right, one more topic here before we run a quick break. We have a really short one today anyway, and do a quick unboxing. The FTC, as well as I believe President Biden, are starting to implement a lot of things specifically targeted at right to repair, making right to repair a reality. They also released a call for like comments from small businesses about right to repair and stuff, and you got to see Louis Rossmann from his dedicated right to repair account being like, hello, I'm right here. But this is, I believe, just a basic statement of policy and a report talking about what right to repair is and why it's necessary, and what the next steps should be. They're going to assess, the current restrictions or the current regulation and determine whether it's enough or if they need to act more. And I am super stoked because this has, especially for Louis Rossmann, this has been a very long and hard-fought fight. And frankly, it's something that I didn't necessarily believe we'd see a lot of traction on for a while. Like, I am surprised we're seeing traction, what I consider to be this quickly on something like this. And so I am stoked that the conversation is being had. It's not just being shut down anymore. I'm stoked that action is potentially being taken. I think Biden was talking about doing an executive order on it at some point. The FTC is obviously looking at it right now. So, yes, super, super freaking stoked. All right, let's run to a commercial break really quick. Let me get a drink, and we will do an unboxing as well. Yeah! Some of you have said that you don't like that I'm spacing out these episodes weekly, and you want to see them sooner. Your chance of seeing these videos soonest are on my own video site that I built with my creator friends. My videos are higher quality there, ad-free, and often extended from the YouTube versions. The site is called Nebula, and we've partnered with CuriosityStream. Nebula features YouTube's top education creators such as MKBHD, Thomas Frank, and Low Spec Gamer. CuriosityStream saw what we were doing for educational content and wanted to partner up and form an educational power team. We've worked out a deal where if you sign up with the link in the video description, you not only get access to CuriosityStream and their library of thousands of educational content and documentaries, you get access to Nebula as well for free for the entire duration of your subscription to CuriosityStream, which is pretty awesome. For a limited time, CuriosityStream is offering 26% off their annual plan, making it less than $15 a year for both CuriosityStream and Nebula together. While you're there, check out Viking Women to learn about Europe's forgotten Vikings. Head to curiositystream.com/epos for the best deal in streaming and get access to both sites for under $15 per year. It's crazy, just do it. Some of you have said that you don't like that I'm spacing out these episodes weekly and you want to see them sooner. Your chance of seeing these videos soonest are on my own video site that I built with my creator friends. My videos are higher quality there, ad-free, and often extended from the YouTube versions. The site is called Nebula, and we've partnered with CuriosityStream. Nebula features YouTube's top education creators such as MKBHD, Thomas Frank, and Low Spec Gamer. CuriosityStream saw what we were doing for educational content and wanted to partner up and form an educational power team. We've worked out a deal where if you sign up with the link in the video description, you not only get access to CuriosityStream and their library of thousands of educational content and documentaries, you get access to Nebula as well for free for the entire duration of your subscription to CuriosityStream, which is pretty awesome. For a limited time, CuriosityStream is offering 26% off their annual plan, making it less than $15 a year for both CuriosityStream and Nebula together. While you're there, check out Viking Women to learn about Europe's forgotten Vikings. Head to curiositystream.com/epos for the best deal in streaming and get access to both sites for under $15 per year. It's crazy, just do it. Alright, for those of you curious about the inner workings and why that was messed up the first time, I'm currently experimenting with, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, with new changes in preparation to launch Season 3 of Streamer News, which I hope to have a lot more production things involved, as well as my new Twitch show. And so, the way I have my music routed is with the downstream keyer plugin for OBS Studio, which means it's routed across every scene unless I manually disable it, which currently my hotkey for that didn't work in the first place. And then I had the media source for my ad doing audio monitoring back to an audio device. The problem is, and you may not even be able to hear the music now, let me know in chat. The problem is that you can only, by default, there is a plugin for it, which I guess I'll have to install from Exeldro, but you can only set one audio monitoring device. So then my music is being monitored to the same device as that video, and getting the levels to where you could hear it without the music being too loud was apparently not successful. So for the second playthrough, I just disabled monitoring, so you're hearing it at the volume that it was playing back at. So, like I said, I have a little bit of quirks to work out. I'm always experimenting, and this is something I really want to commit to, so yeah. One step at a time, however. Alright, well, music should be back. Obviously, there's like a 30-second delay here. Will there be a Stream Professor Guide to Domestic and International Merch Development? Nope. Alright, so we have one unboxing today. If I switch on over, actually, I just realized I don't have a scene for this. We can make that happen, though. It won't be the same as my usual one, but we can make it happen. Also, my OBS scaling is completely messed up right now, so I don't even have a way to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what? I don't even need to make a scene for this. I don't have a way to press, like, the studio mode button or the start and stop recording buttons very easily, because, like, they're completely glitched out with where they're supposed to be located, and now I can't disable studio mode. Hello? There we go. Alright, so we'll just switch fully to the overhead cam here. Shabamo. Of course, that's rotated 180 degrees. Transform. I also usually do the stream in a completely different setup, so everything's completely thrown out of whack at the moment. But anyway, so the unboxing we're checking out today is a product called TourBox, which is pretty interesting, especially if you've been watching my channel for a while and know the kind of stuff that I like to look at. Oh, echo. Sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Ah! Alright. This is a product called TourBox. I am a professional streamer, ladies and gentlemen. I am the professor of streams. I know how to stream so competently. Alright. This is a product called TourBox Neo. I love the delay in OBS or YouTube chat because long after I fixed the issue, chat is still super mad about it. Take me out to the ball game. Are we in a game? Anyway. Jesus Christ. This is what happens. Literally, I made changes to this setup like 10 minutes before we went live. So this is what happens when you don't have enough time to prepare. This is a product called TourBox Neo. And if you watched my channel for any length of time, you know I love checking out devices that allow you to speed up your editing or your streaming. You know, the Stream Deck is one of my favorite products to have released for editing and streaming in a very long time. And this is a product that aims to kind of be something similar. So the box says it's the ultimate controller for creators. I got sent this for review. On the top here, we get a lovely quick start guide. That is actually pretty detailed, although that's because most of it's not in English, so we got a lot of different languages, so it's not as thorough as it may look. Safety instructions. You get bags for these things in case you take them on the go, including a separate bag for your cable, which just seems really wasteful, if you ask me. There's definitely audio. Don't start freaking trolling me. Music done digitally. Alright. So I assume this is a cable. I don't know why they needed a second bag for the cable instead of just, you know, letting you put the cable in the main bag. Got a basic USB 2.0 Type-C. This is a braided cable, but it's like one of those thicker one, not a soft, loose one. Then we have the tuner box itself. Now this thing looks like a fidget cube. It is also like as pitch black as the eye can see, so it is absorbing every bit of light that I am casting down on it with a giant powered ring light. But it looks like a fidget cube. So you got a clickable dial. I'm trying to get the angle here to show you. Clickable dial here. You've got buttons. You've got a side button. I believe that's just one giant button up top. Man, this thing is going to be very difficult to make a video on. You've got a side button over here. Maybe it's not as dark for you all. You got a dial, USB-C. You got another dial that's also clicky. You got a directional pad. I think that's one button and that's one button. And they're all different shapes. And the idea here is... yeah, I don't know what happened to my music. The idea here is that you'll be able to easily, assuming you have it next to your mouse or whatever, you can put your hand on it and you'll be able to easily feel what you're actually hitting so that you don't, since it doesn't have screens or labels, you'll at least somewhat know what the functions are because you'll be able to see them. Now, you can barely see it on camera, dude. There we go. That's a better look at it. But it definitely looks like a giant fidget cube. Like, you could literally just keep this with you and use it as a fidget cube. So, pretty interested to check it out. And obviously, the limiting factor here will be the software and how competent it is and what integrations they have supported for software, or if it'll just run hotkeys or something. That's always the limiting factor with these devices, more so than the specific physical capabilities. But if you want to go check it out, we have an Amazon affiliate link that our moderator Nick is posting in the chat right now. These devices are always pretty cool to check out, but, you know, whether they will work for you comes in the form of the software. Vox is holding the void in his hands. Yeah, that's what it looked like. By the way, the music that you can only sometimes hear in the background, because the way I gently routed things today, is by Backing Track, our music service that you can get that is royalty-free music. It is rock and heavy metal, designed to be used in your videos and live streams, completely free to use, free to download in our Discord server at discord.gg/EposVox, or you can check out various playlists on different streaming platforms over at backingtrack.gg. We also have stems available for download to remix and make it your own if you'd like, to loop it out or, you know, do whatever you'd like. Shoutouts to Nick for managing the sponsors. Hell yeah. Alright, so we got a few more topics here. You can hear it now? Yeah. Alright, let's get back on topic. We finally have world's first available to purchase HDMI 2.1 splitter, switcher, scaler, all of that. And of course, as I said multiple times in my videos, the world first is by the wonderful people over at HD Fury. This is their 8K Vroom 40 gigabit per second matrix. So this is a matrix, it's a switch, it's an upscaler, it's an audio extractor, it's all sorts of stuff. And actually, it's very similar to their Diva 4K, which I have right here, which is actually more expensive. This thing is $419, which is very expensive. This one was like more like $500. But I do have their Diva 4K. It is incredibly powerful. More than the average person needs. So if you just need a scaler or a switch or a splitter, I would wait, because they're going to come and they're going to be a lot cheaper. But this one does everything. So it will downscale, pass through, upscale, any signal, be it variable refresh rate or not, while extracting full audio from any HDMI source as well to feed it into your audio mixer. Now, it's only 40 gigabit per second, and as far as I know, the only difference between the 48 gigabit per second and 40 gigabit per second HDMI 2.1 ports is the 12-bit support, which doesn't matter for any real-world use case. So you still got HDR, you got variable refresh rate, you got Atmos and surround sound and all of that. It'll also strip out the HDCP of your Blu-rays and things like that to make it more cooperative. It will do so much that I can't even list it all here because it does just about everything. So this will be useful for people who want to play on their, like I have back here on my LG CX OLED, play their HDMI 2.1 game consoles in 4K 120 or with adaptive sync or whatever, or in 8K, and you can scale it down to 4K, you can scale it down to capture card friendly format, you can convert variable refresh rate, I believe, to non-variable refresh rate. We will see how that works because currently I wasn't aware that this was possible, but it seems to be something that you might be able to do, in which case you can play in variable refresh rate and still stream without it. Now, granted, you will still have tearing. That's impossible to get rid of. But, you know, whatever. It's got HDCP conversions, color space conversions, everything. So I am super stoked. It is, of course, very expensive. I have placed my pre-order, but they do not ship until November. This first sale wave is the only one that'll probably actually get to you in 2021. Now, this is what I said earlier on the channel multiple times. This is what they said earlier in the year. And currently, I'm not aware of any that are actually shipping that are currently available in this market for HDMI 2.1 just yet. There's another company called HDTV Supply that has like a wolf pack or something set of splitters and switchers is the word I'm looking for, and all of that. However, they still have not shipped. I've actually been in email contact with them, and they kept saying they would send me them once they're shipping, and so far, everything has just, you know, he just keeps replying saying soon. So, we will see. Got a question in chat. I don't usually do tech support chat, but I get this question so often that I want to make sure I answer it. How to connect USB webcam to an HDMI input like AT2040 Mini? You cannot. It is a USB webcam. At no point does it output HDMI. You cannot do that. Your only options are to add it in a secondary streaming software that the AT2040 Mini runs into, or if you're that desperate to add a webcam, you connect a webcam to a computer, output a full screen preview over HDMI to the AT2040 Mini. That is so many layers of delay and quality degradation that would never be a good idea, but you cannot, by default, do that, and I would not suggest doing that. Moving on, Sony has announced and released and sent out early review samples to a lot of people, just not me for some reason. The Sony ZV-E10, which is a follow-up to their ZV-1 camera, but uses the APS-C sensor that you would see in cameras like the Sony a6400. So it is a 6K sensor that shoots downscaled to 4K. It can do 4K 24 with no crop, 4K 30 with a slight crop on the already APS-C size sensor. It's a little annoying, but it's a super slight crop. Does 1080p 60, very high quality, super fast autofocus, but this time it is an interchangeable lens camera. But they have made a much smaller body, more akin to the ZV-1. It is a little bit bigger than the ZV-1, and they still have micro HDMI and then USB Type-C. Keep in mind, we have no confirmation on what the USB streaming mode looks like. It is USB Type-C. It is probably still USB 2.0. So at best, you're probably looking at the same USB streaming capabilities as the Sony ZV-1 that I just covered back on Wednesday, which would be 720p 30. In an ideal world, they upgraded that to a USB 3.0 Type-C port, and they will do full 1080p streaming or something and not BMJPEG, but I find that incredibly unlikely. I have sent my usual review request. As soon as they can get one to me, I will check it out. But this is a lovely upgrade for effectively the same price on the ZV-1 while allowing you to use your own lenses if you want to upgrade later on. So I am super stoked for this. I originally said that I wanted a couple ZV-1s here in the studio for like overhead cams and stuff, especially since my overhead camera has terrible autofocus. But I would much rather have this instead of the ZV-1. But they are pretty expensive. It's like $700 for the base model, $800 with the kit lens, which within context is affordable and just fine, but for a lot of people that is still really, really expensive and maybe not ideal. So, yeah, someone pointed out that the I/O is on the screen side, which is unfortunate, and I don't like when that happens. However, according to Gerald Undunn's review, like, it does not block the screen very much at all. So, like, the mic flap barely blocks any of the screen, and then this supposedly doesn't block much, but it's still not ideal. That is why flip-up screens are sometimes better in this case, but, yeah, I mean, especially if you're using it as a stream camera, you're not going to be looking at your screen preview all that much, so it should be fine, but... Oh, they did say it was 720p on USB already? There you go. Yeah. We got an announcement, or a teaser, rather, from BEACN. So they previously talked about their BEACN Mix, which looks to be a mixer or a GoXLR-like kind of device of some sort. We don't have a ton of information about it. They have now teased their BEACN mic, which is a product I teased 2 years ago when I said someone was making a USB dynamic microphone, finally. This is it. Now, granted, we got other ones like it, the Shure MV7 and the Samsung Q9U, so technically, you know, I could have been predicting that as well. But the BEACN mic has been coming for a while. This is from people who used to work on GoXLR. I can't really tell details about the story, but GoXLR is run by a very old-school, old-hat company that didn't really allow them to do a whole lot or support the product much, and so they went and made their own product, and they're making a few different creator and streaming focused products that no one else is making the specs of anywhere close. So this is a DSP powered microphone. So all the audio processing you can think of in the GoXLR, but presumably improved. We don't know yet, but presumably improved. But built inside the USB microphone. It is a dynamic capsule, which is much better for desktop streaming and the like. I am stoked to see someone doing that. It has what they're calling real-time adaptive noise suppression, which... most noise suppression you'd run on a microphone for your streaming would be real time. I'm not sure what they... Adaptive is kind of a claim, I guess. We'll see what that means. And then what they're saying is crystal clear 32-bit float / 96 kilohertz sound. So I want to talk about this just for a minute because there's been a lot of debate and some people over on the TikToks are wanting to argue with me because they think they know audio best or whatever. Now, I'm going to preface this because I guess it was slightly uncool that I didn't do so beforehand, but I was time limited. We don't know what they mean yet by 32-bit float, because 32-bit float could be a couple, it could be a couple different things, because it could just be the processing container that all of their post-processing is done in, which is still great and totally fine and helpful, awesome. But it could also mean actually capturing audio at 32-bit float. And I made a whole video about this with my review of my Sound Devices MixPre 3 audio recorder, as well as the Zoom F6, because I bought the MixPre 3 Mark II for that 32-bit capability, because it basically allows you to never have to worry about what your gain is set at, because you will never clip, because you have like so much crazy dynamic range in your audio. You can go all the way from whispering to shouting or shooting a gun off, and you'll never, like, you'll break your microphone before you clip, or your microphone will clip like in the capsule itself before you clip. And that is really freaking cool. And so if they're actually capturing in 32-bit float like that, then streamers who aren't always the best at setting gain or learning audio levels or balancing that properly can not really worry about messing up their audio and ending up with poor results and never clip and still have their post-processing applied in a way that is high quality. But keep in mind, I don't know that if they're capturing in 32-bit float or if it's just processing. There's a difference, and one is more marketing gimmicky than the other. But while there are ways to do this with 24-bit, the Elgato Wave stuff has Clip Guard, which is basically a safety track, which runs at 20 dB lower than your main track. That's one strategy that a lot of audio recorders uses before. 32-bit is just another approach. And so you have both available to you. We'll see how this goes. But I am super stoked for this because this is a lovely dynamic mic looking kind of thing. And we need more of those in development instead of the same Blue Yeti clone condenser microphones. Someone in chat before I got to this topic asked, do I know when it will come out? Nope. And if I did, I couldn't tell you, because they haven't said it yet. Also, another microphone announced recently and teased was the wrong scene that I switched to here. The Technica AT2040, which is another dynamic microphone. This is a tiny little microphone in the 20 blah 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 line, like the 2030 and the 2035 from Technica, which is only $100. It looks like the pod mic and is a small little dynamic microphone instead of a condenser. So I have ordered this. It's supposed to be here early next week. I believe Wednesday of next week, and I've also finally ordered a pod mic. I still have not reviewed the pod mic yet, so I will be reviewing the pod mic. I'll be reviewing this one. We'll be comparing them, and we'll also see how the AT2040 holds up against the AT2020, which was a cheaper, much appreciated condenser microphone, and one that I used for a long time. So obviously I don't have much details yet. The frequency response on this was like 80 hertz to 16 kilohertz or something. Obviously it's a dynamic hypercardioid. It's super short like the pod mic. XLR comes out the back. And the mount for it actually wraps around, which unlike a lot of stuff means that you could probably get a shock mount for it. Whereas a lot of microphones keep doing the SM7B, the yoke is attached to the microphone kind of thing, and then you can't get a shock mount for it without doing some awkward stuff. So pretty stoked here because this is a much better choice, assuming it sounds good. It's going to be a much better choice for streaming and podcasts and things like that, given that it's the same price as a new AT2020, although you can get a used AT2020 much cheaper, but it's a dynamic. You should be using dynamics. Next up, Discord now has threads. These are basically sub-conversations within a specific text channel that you can use to keep things all in one place. We have found uses for it. We've been experimenting with it in our Discord server. We found uses for it. For example, specific tech support threads. If someone needs help with a specific thing, you can immediately spin their message into a thread and keep all of that contained in a thread, while other people can still get tech support in the same channel without it just being a bunch of disconnected messages flying back and forth and confusing everyone. Super powerful there. We also use it, or it can also be useful for spoiler discussion. You know, if you have a music or movies category like we do on Discord, and you have spoilers coming up, you can have a spoilers discussion. While you still need the spoilers tag, you could still, you know, keep it all in one place without flooding the main channel. And then side projects, like in our mod chat, we have one for working on the channels in our server, and that's its own conversation while we can still talk about normal moderation stuff. So really cool. It does have some issues in moderation terms and things like that. It's not the best implementation ever. It's clearly a rushed release to compete with Gilded, but I am excited for the feature and its possibilities regardless, and we will see how it develops over time, assuming they don't just leave it static in one place. So join our Discord server again, discord.gg/EposVox if you want to see it in use, but it is an option available for you. A lot of you reached out to me on Twitter and YouTube comments and the like, asking me to review Logitech's new 4K Pro webcam, because apparently they've been running a bunch of Instagram ads for it. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, this is the same camera as the Logitech BRIO. They've done this all the time, and in fact, it appears the 4K Pro webcam isn't even a new rebrand. It may have been running alongside the original since launch, but Logitech effectively just kind of renames their products, whether they're marketing it to streamers or consumers or business people, and it's all the same product, even though it may have separate firmware like release tracks, and the firmware isn't always compatible, even though the actual camera itself is the same. And so the 4K Pro webcam is the exact same camera as the BRIO. It has the same features: 4K 30 MJPEG over USB 3, 1080p 60 MJPEG over USB 2, 1080p 30 YUI2 over USB 3, and it does have 720p 90 FPS support, and I did cover that back in 2017-ish when it released. It's still $200. They also rebranded it as the 4K Pro Magnetic Webcam if you wanted a magnet base for monitors like the Apple Pro Display XDR. I have a whole playlist up on my website and the link that Nick is sharing if you want to see my original coverage of it, as well as some updated videos about it, including using custom lenses on it with a full rehousing kit, as well as their Logitech capture software and all of that. But they've done the same thing with the C920. There's like a million different C920 and C922s on Amazon, all with different prices. It's just ridiculous. Logitech is a mess when it comes to this, and it's frustrating as a reviewer because people will argue with me that it's a different camera. Like the C922X is different than the C922 I reviewed, when the C922X is the C922 with XSplit bundled with it. The camera is exactly the same. I don't know. It's really frustrating, but yeah. There's that. Speaking of webcams, someone in chat asked any news on the Dell Cam. I have it in house. It finally arrived. Don't have my review done for it yet. I actually haven't even opened it yet just because things have an order of release that I get to. But I do have it, so I will be reviewing and comparing it to the OBSBot and the other AI tracking camera that I reviewed, as well as a normal webcam, comparing it to my usual stack of cameras, including the Elgato Facecam. Twitch has announced and released what they are calling the Twitch Safety Center, which is a one-stop shop for information about staying safe on Twitch, as well as learning about moderation tools, how to report harassers, enforcing rules, all of that here on Twitch. And it's cool that they are putting this together. They should have done it years ago, but I'm excited to see them making progress towards this, and hopefully that means they will make progress towards actually enforcing these rules and helping protect their streamers. And they were supposed to be taking off-platform harassment more seriously as well, which I have heard they have not yet, so hopefully we get to that point. Next topic. PlayStation has combined forces with Nixxes to bring more PlayStation games to the PC. After putting it off and saying that it wasn't important forever, PlayStation sees the money on the table being left after Xbox has gone all in on PC, and they're finally putting their money where it belongs to get their games on PC. What is really exciting here, even though this doesn't necessarily mean anything, because this is probably a stock, PlayStation Studios graphic, we do have games like God of War and Returnal being featured here, which have not seen any progress towards PC releases. This does not mean we're getting PC releases for those games, but hopefully we do soon. Hopefully. Make it happen, Nixxes. Nixxes? I actually don't know how to say it. Speaking of PC gaming, modders have added AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution to SteamVR games, and apparently it really helps and actually looks pretty nice. A lot of people were bringing up when FSR was a big topic of discussion that VR would be the place to go because there is more of a universal kind of API to kind of manage some of it for some of the SteamVR games, and it's a situation where resolution isn't always super important compared to frame rate, and so if you can get slightly lower resolution for details, but you get the smoother frame rate, yeah. So I am stoked to see this happening, and I really think at some point we're just going to see an overall tool like Reshade or something that just adds fidelity or FSR to just about any game, and I am excited for that as well. Actually, that is it for today's topics, I think. Was that it? Oh, no, we have two more. So I'm going to switch on over here. Twitch, I believe yesterday, had their Twitch patch notes stream, which I did not pull up the VOD beforehand because I was busy fighting the whole streaming setup here. Twitch.tv. Where is this? Why is it so hard to find this stream? Why is Twitch streaming now? What are they streaming now? Here it is. Okay. So I'm going to mute this. Just pull it up for reference sake, I guess. Get rid of chat. No one wants to see chat. So I was watching this over in Zach Busey's stream. I believe that's how you say his name. Someone else was saying his name wrong in the stream. But they had their Twitch patch notes, which appeared to be a new show giving, real-time discussion about Twitch's development and things like that. And they talked about, obviously, the 10 years thing that they featured with this completely over-the-top raid thing and things like that. But two specific notes that I wanted to mention are, first and foremost, they are getting rid of the Blacksmith extension. If you're not familiar with the Blacksmith extension it was an extension that integrated your Amazon Affiliate or Amazon Associates program with your Twitch account and allowed you to sell games that you were streaming through Twitch, as well as the products that you use in your stream and things like that. They implemented it. They never really developed it beyond that, and people just don't use it, and they are removing it from Twitch, and they are supposedly working on new ways to help creators monetize. However, all they really had to offer in that regard was you can use affiliate links for your gear listings and your Twitch panels. So they know that creator monetization is important, and then they need to find ways to help creators do it, but they don't have any ideas yet, as far as I can tell. In other monetization factors, though, as they're trying to fight the war of display ads and the like, they are actually, or fight the war of pre-roll ads, they're actually implementing display ads on stream. So they had a demo of this I would like to pull up here. So they had a demo of this where your stream, kind of like some of the leaderboard stuff they showed on Mixer, but your stream would actually minimize, and it shows a little banner ad below your stream, which you can then earn. And I believe I don't have the exact wording, but I believe they said that they're going to try to match the earnings that you get from these display ads to pre-roll ads for a little bit to try to help make sure that creators aren't losing out on a bunch of money, which is running at a loss because if you know anything about YouTube monetization, you know that those kinds of banner display ads are actually the least paying ad format on YouTube. However, less paying is still better than zero, and if it means less, intrusive pre-roll ads for viewers, it could be a win regardless. However, there are other options, because this kind of reminds me of how certain sports networks and stuff run ads, in which case they could also do something like sports networks do, where when you first load a stream and encounter that initial pre-roll ad, you still see the stream muted in a side-by-side view with the ad, or the ad runs over top of chat, or something like that. That is how a lot of the sports channels and like Super Bowl stuff does, is if the event's still happening, because it's happening live, and they're not at a commercial break in real time, they will just pull it up side by side or in like a picture-in-picture view with the ad. The ad gets the audio priority, but you still get to see what's going on, so you're not missing that initial first impression. I think that is much more powerful to keep the pre-roll ad format alive than just replacing it with a much worse paying ad format. But they are trying to help make sure creators are making more money, mainly because that means that Twitch makes more money. But it was interesting to discuss regardless. And pre-rolls, honestly, at this point, are offensive enough for smaller channels and affiliates that I really feel like... This is a side tangent. We've talked about this a bunch in my Twitch streams recently, and we'll talk about it more in my dedicated Twitch show, which will, of course, end up in videos on the channel. But I really think so many streaming channels effectively kill their viewer base by racing to affiliate, because so many of these channels really, like, they don't understand that affiliate is just like a bump in the road that you get along the way, and it's not like an end goal. Even partnership isn't an end goal. It's where really things start. And so there are so many channels who will viewbot, and by viewbot, I mean getting all their friends to pull up their streams AFK, which is the same thing as viewbotting, and boost their artificial numbers, or get in those hashtag small streamer circles, and artificially boost their numbers to get into the affiliate program, which requires 3 concurrent viewers. It's not hard. It's a bot filter. They boost their numbers to get into the affiliate program, and then all those fake numbers go away, and they're left with 0 viewers, and it's harder to get viewers because they're running ads on their channel because they're affiliate now. And so many channels rush into this affiliate program because it thinks that that makes them successful, or it thinks it will somehow help them grow. And if anything, it probably hurts them for growth because of the pre-roll ads. Because of the fact that new people are hopping in this 0 viewer channel and wanting to see what it's about. And if they get pushed with the pre-roll ad for a channel that literally has nothing, like no viewership yet, they're gonna bounce on top of some of the other weird stuff that gets implemented. And I think a lot of channels would be much better off without the ads for a little bit, especially since you're not going to be making anything from them. There's no benefit to having ads on your channel when you don't have a whole lot of viewership. So that's just a side rant for me. One last note here, of course, the Halo Infinite technical preview is currently running. If you are in the Halo Insider program, you probably have an invite sitting in Halo Waypoint. Halo Waypoint has been pretty glitchy and buggy, as the demand for this Insider flight has been, clearly the demand has been significantly higher than any of the MCC seasons. But the flight is currently running from yesterday afternoon until, I guess, the end of Sunday, I believe. It's running all weekend, so you can play. Keep in mind, however, that you are playing with other players on your team, but then you're playing against bots. So just as some initial thoughts about my experience with it as a longtime Halo vet and avid Halo player, it's really hard to tell how it feels right now because of a couple things. First and foremost, the game runs like ass. I am playing on a 3090 and a 10900K, and at 1440p, even playing on low, it's hard to, like, I can't hit 120 FPS consistently. The frame rate is fluctuating all over the place. It feels sluggish and chuggy as hell. It just runs like ass. And I realize it's a technical preview. It's not representative of even the current build of the game that they have, and blah, 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 blah. But it makes it really hard to get a feel for the game when everything's so chuggy and delayed. And so I specifically feel that guns like the sniper rifle, there's a little bit of a delay before I shoot, which makes it really hard to accurately get a shot, which is weird because every Halo game that I have ever played, the sniper is like the ultimate gun that even if I don't like most of the game's mechanics, I can do really well with the sniper. And this is not the case so far in Halo Infinite. I can't hit crap with the sniper. And so that's been pretty frustrating, on top of it just like running really sluggish and hard to get like good smooth captures of it. Of course, it probably looks smooth here because it's running at 30 FPS, but you know, it is not super great in terms of performance. And then combine that with the fact that, again, you are playing against bots with real people. And so every match that I play ends with the score being like 50-6 or 50-12. And so you don't really get the same kind of feedback in terms of like mechanics. Like, I can't tell what it's like playing against other people because the bots are so easy. Now, they will punish you if you're going up like a 1v3 and you're making mistakes, then because they're bots and they have accuracy, like they will punish you in that regard. But overall, it's not like it's a challenge, and pretty much every bot you face, you will have 1 to 3 teammates shooting. And so I've actually found it pretty difficult to get the final like damage to actually finish a kill in this game, which is really bizarre. Because I can drain their shields or whatever, but then someone else will shoot them and take the final, damage to get the kill. It feels a little weird. The time to kill is a little bit faster than your standard Halo game. The movement doesn't feel too bad. It's got sprint, but it's not too fast. The base movement speed is still great. And it has sliding. So between the sliding and the clambering and stuff, it feels a little bit more like Apex Legends, although you can't climb quite as much as Apex Legends without being quite so fast. It still feels like a Halo title. It just is really sluggish at the moment, so it's hard to judge based on that. But the weapons feel great. It's very Halo Combat Evolved-like in that the pistol is super powerful, especially if you're accurate with it. And so you pretty much want to auto-swap to your pistol as soon as you spawn to get the best results of quickly killing people. The battle rifle may be the best battle rifle in a Halo so far. It just feels phenomenal. The sniper scope blocks most of your screen and is really awkward to use, on top of no-scoping with it is awkward. It's, of course, hit scan for all of the bullet weapons, but there are projectile weapons such as the skewer or the plasma weapons or what have you. But so far, it feels good overall, but it's really hard to judge until it's running at a higher frame rate or more consistent frame times and playing against real people. There's also some weird control quirks. Like in the other Halo titles, like in MCC, you can press 1 and 2 to like switch between your main and primary weapon. However, those hotkeys by default are assigned to things like the grapple shot, which I haven't even used yet. I don't even think it's enabled in here. There is only one map so far. It is incredibly tiny at the moment. You are playing 4v4, but it's a super tiny map for Halo. And with the previous Halo games, you press 1 and 2 to switch between like your primary and secondary weapon. Or in this game, you press F to switch weapons, like you only have a bind just to switch weapons in general, or you scroll. And for whatever reason, and I don't do this in most games, but every time I hit G to throw a grenade, I'm also hitting F to switch weapons. And then if I like scroll up or down to switch weapons, oftentimes it's like so sensitive that it will just switch back to the same weapon over and over. So like right now, you just saw that I threw a grenade and switched weapons. And that has gotten me into a lot of frustrations here with the weapon swapping that does not feel very good on mouse and keyboard, where it probably feels just fine on controller because you're probably still switching weapons with Y. So, just worth discussing there. But I am super stoked for Halo Infinite regardless. I am so glad I got to get in the flight and test it out myself regardless, because I am a huge Halo fan and I am very much looking forward to it. The visuals are gorgeous. I like the map design overall. It's just really, really tiny. But yeah, those are my thoughts so far on the Halo technical preview. That's all the topics we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Go check out our sponsor, Curiosity Stream, as well as our music over on Backing Track. Join us on Discord, Halo 3 Community Game Night tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Please join us. It will be a great time. And while you're at it, I guess go check out our merch, eposvox.gg/merch. Hope you guys and gals have a great rest of your weekend if you're not joining our game night. And I will see you later. Bye-bye.